Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. The Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have once again fallen our hands, as they say in local parlance. They have disappointed Nigerians again. They have called off their strike without achieving anything. Why did I say that they have not achieved anything? The Nigeria Labour Congress and the TUC went on strike over the minimum wage. The minimum wage they were proposing was 615,000 naira to the dollar. 15,000 naira minimum wage, 615,000 naira minimum wage. From there, it got to 400 and something thousand. And then federal government said that they will pay 60,000. And the labor said they can't take that. But at the end of the day, they call it off, saying that federal government have now said that they will pay above 60,000 naira. Above 60, what amount is that? Nobody was told anything. All we heard was that federal government has agreed to pay above 60,000 naira. Is that enough justification to call off a strike? A strike that has to do with a fundamental issue about remuneration and take-home pay of workers. Because when you say that federal government has agreed to pay above 60,000, 61,000 is above 60,000, 62,000 is above 60,000. So how much is government going to pay? You didn't arrive at that and you call off a strike. I think that it's high time the Labour Congress stop going on strike, because they make strike look like a mere exercise that should not be taken serious. What's the gain? What was gained in the strike that they went on? What was the gain? What is the gain? What did they gain from it? What did the workers of Nigeria benefit from it? Nigerian government is not doing the workers any favor in terms of the minimum wage. The minimum wage expired. The minimum wage is reversed every 5 years. The last time it was done was in 2019 or thereabouts. So it is a normal thing that there should be a renegotiation 5 years after. Now, if Labour Congress can negotiate without going on strike, since they are going on strike, doesn't really mean achieve much. So that we can understand that they can take anything that government throw at them. You raise the hope of workers and then you dash it. So what's the point? Because there was no agreement, no serious agreement that was reached. In fact, one of the trending stories was that the president has directed the Minister of Finance, Wale Adun, to present the cost implications for a new minimum wage within 2 days. Now, Labour has been having meeting with government on the new minimum wage. They set up committee and order for the past 6 months or more. So within that 6 months or more, federal government does not think that it was wise enough to come up with a template of the minimum wage they will pay, knowing fully well that every 5 years there will always be a renegotiation of the minimum wage with the workers. The Minister of Finance, all the other major stakeholders in the issue of workers' welfare ought to have had a template on ground on what they are going to discuss, what they can afford to pay to the Nigerian workers, but they didn't do it. It is now that they call off the strike that Tinubu is giving 2 days to Waladun to come up with a template on how to be able to find out the cost implication. So it is now they are going to sit down to say, okay, if we are to pay these people 62,000, what are the cost implications? But these are things they ought to have done several months ago. But there have been all this back and forth between government and the labor. Labor will come for the tripartite meeting. Government officials will not come because they have no regard for the Nigerian Labour Congress and the trade unions. They have no regard for them. And the unions themselves have also shown that they can take anything. If they are serious, they ought to have grounded the country so that the government will be forced to recognize that the welfare of workers matters. You can see how difficult it has been for them to pay 400,000 or thereabouts. But go and check the take-home pay of the lawmakers in the National Assembly and all the aides and advisors of those in the executive. We are not talking about the main guys, the ministers. We're talking about people attached to the offices, their aides. They don't consider all those. They don't ask, how are we going to get money to pay the aides, the numerous aides of the lawmakers and ministers, those in the office of the president and vice president. They don't talk about where to raise the money. Paying for those, no problem. But if it is to pay for the workers that drive the nation, they need to go and come up with a special template to be able to justify whether they should pay workers 62,000 or 61,000 or 63,000. But that is because the Nigerian Labour Congress has literally sold itself cheap to the executive, to the government over the years. Because I don't see the reason why the government that could be able to have enough money to build almost 16 trillion naira coastal highway, you will claim that I don't have money to pay workers. Pay workers living wage. And why they were able to do it is because the labor union leaders doesn't have the courage of their own conviction to stand their ground and say, look, you have to pay us this or nothing. And they will pay it. This country is awash with money. Nigeria is rich. Don't let anyone deceive you. This country is rich. This country is rich. Look at the opulence of those in authority. This country is blessed. They should be able to pay workers living wage and more. But the workers themselves must be able to confront them in a language that they understand. But the workers have not been able to show that they can be able to withstand the rigor of fighting for their rights. That's why they capitulate before you know it, in a beggarly fashion. If not, why call off a strike when you have not achieved anything? I can't see anything they have achieved. Had it been that this strike was called off, that federal government say that is going to pay 150,000 naira or 200,000 naira, it would have made a lot of sense. But to say that federal government say it will pay above 60,000, and that was enough for you to call off a strike. In an economy that these people have so messed up that the value of 60,000 naira today is more, half of that is almost 30,000 naira 5 years ago, when they negotiated 30,000 naira minimum wage. 60,000 naira today is worth less than 30,000 naira that was brokered 5 years ago, because of the mismanagement of our foreign currency regime, in which the naira has become the worst performing currency in the world. So why call off the strike? Because government says it's going to pay more than 60,000 naira in an economy that they are the ones that damage it to this level, with their removal of the fuel subsidy and the flotation of the naira. They are the ones that put the naira in the current state, and they are the ones responsible for the hardship in the country. So they ought to be able to know that there are consequences for every action that they took. One of it is, if you float the currency and the naira depreciate to the present level, you ought to know that the naira value has gone down. And for naira to be able to purchase anything reasonable, you have to increase money in the pocket of Nigerian workers. They are the ones that put the country in this dire strait, and they ought to pay a price for it by being made to not pay well to workers and then reduce their own expenditure. But they are not ready to reduce their expenditure. The expenditure for National Assembly lawmakers, for those in the presidency, those in government houses in the states, it remains the same, or even has gone higher. But they keep on telling the people to tighten their belt. It's only workers that should tighten their belt. When you talk about paying workers living wage, they say it will cause inflation. But the ones that they spend for those in the executive and legislature, it doesn't cause inflation. But all these things boil down to the failure of the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress. This thing has nothing to do with JRJ. It has always been there, even right from Ayuba Waba, right from Oshomole. These are the kind of things they were just doing initial gra-gra. At the end of the day, government will still do what they want to do. It is time for the Nigerian workers to elect leaders that will not compromise in terms of kowtowing to the government of the day, and stand their ground and defend the interest of the Nigerian workers. For now, the leaders of the unions that we have, I do not see them achieving anything reasonable for the workers. So whatever, when they meet in the next 5 days or whatever, at the end of the day, whatever the government want to pay is what they are going to pay. You take it or you leave it, because the strike itself has lost its potential because of mismanagement of strike by the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress. Thank you for watching this video, and if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.